Hey, welcome to my channel. I make weekly art tutorials, paint-alongs and vlogs, and today I'm going to be making art with expensive art supplies versus cheap art supplies to see which one you favour. I did a lot of painting for this video, so I'm talking clouds, landscapes, everything, just so that we can answer the question, which is best? Does it matter? Does the difference justify the price? So while you're still unbiased, I want you to have a look at these clouds, have a look at these palettes, and let me know which is your favourite, A, B or C. I'll be reviewing three types of gouache, so the Crawford and Black from the Works, the Himimiya gouache set and the Winsor & Newton designer gouache. And although you can tell which one's expensive and which one's cheap, I'll go through the exact prices at the end so as to not bias you too much. The Crawford and Black is a set of 12 colours and 12 mils each that come in a simple cardboard box. Next is the Himimiya gouache set, which is increasingly popular. I've done a separate video about that, so if you want to know more then check that out. But just to give you a brief overview, it comes in a nice plastic case with a palette and a set of brushes, and it's 30 mils with 24 colours. And last but not least, the Winsor & Newton gouache set, which comes with 10 colours of 14 mils, and that's me laughing at using up all the white. In terms of available colours, the Himimiya gouache sets can come up to 56 colours, whereas the Winsor & Newton one has up to 88 colours which can be bought individually, but obviously if you do so they cost a bit more than the sets. And I couldn't find any other colours in the Crawford and Black. Let's take a couple of minutes to swatch all the colours and see what we have. As I mentioned before, the Crawford and Black has 12 colours that come in 12mm tubes. The main thing that I noticed when swatching them out is just that I need quite a bit of paint in order to get the pigment down, and even then some of the colours like the red on the side do look quite faded, but all in all it's not, dreadful. Next is the Himimiya gouache set. So with this set I got 24 colours. The fact that the other sets had less colours doesn't bother me too much, because at the end of the day it will help me with colour theory and with blending, and I should be able to get most colours. That being said, I like having the extras that come with this set. This set comes in jelly tubs, which I had to reactivate. So again, some of the paints were a bit watery, but some of them were really vibrant. As you can see, the blues are really nice. But there's room for improvement with the browns, and I think that's the same for the De La Rowley, which I swatched above. Next we have the Winsor & Newton. So I don't know if you can fully appreciate this, but with the Winsor & Newton I'm using a lot less paint than I used with the other brands, and despite that it's more vibrant, or at least when I'm painting they look more vibrant. So although there's less paint, it's going a long way. So this set has less colours than the others, which is something to bear in mind, but how much of an issue this is going to be will depend on how the colours blend together for both this set and the first one. So this is the complete palette, and these are the colours that we have to play around with. So I'm going to use this opportunity to practice painting clouds, because why not? I'll basically be painting them 3 times using the different paints that we have. So starting off, the main thing or the main issue that I have with this paint is just the fact that it's a bit watery. It's quite light, a little bit muddy when I'm using it, but that being said, I'm getting the colours that I want, more so the purple rather than the whites. I'm still learning with gouache, so you'll have to permit my technique, and also clouds are not my thing. But that being said, I'm the same person and I'll be painting the same things, so we'll just have to disregard skill level, if you like, and focus on the paints. So this exercise is mainly me getting more comfortable with the gouache, but also layering on top. As some of you will probably know, the good thing with gouache is that you can actually layer light on dark, which means that if you have some, if you've painted something dark beneath, you can add some lighter colours on top, almost like acrylic, which would be very difficult to do with watercolours. So with this, as you've probably seen, I've done loads of layers getting lighter and lighter to just try and create lots of like different depths of colour, and just really make that cloud look 3-dimensional. And it's actually it's allowing it, which is quite good. And another thing that's helping with the layering is just the fact that the paint itself is thick enough that it can kind of go on top. So it is getting a little bit muddy, but all in all it's not too bad. One thing that tends to stand true with gouache is that the colors that you see when they're wet is not the color that it's going to be when it dries. So quite often you'll notice that your painting is actually changing as time passes. What tends to happen is that lighter colors dry darker than you would think, and darker colors dry lighter than you would think. So you can already see from the painting that I did above on top, it's already started to change colors slightly. It looks a little bit chalkier, the white isn't as white as it was before, and the blue is a teeny weeny bit kind of like dull compared to how it was before, but that's just something to kind of bear in mind. The chalky look that it has isn't typical of all gouache. I think it's just typical of this brand, but we digress. I almost feel like Goldilocks because the first set of paints that I was using was quite watery, which just made it harder to use or harder to work with, whereas this texture is a lot more like what gouache should be. It just makes it easier and kind of nicer to use basically. So the blues are a bit deeper than the other set, but I don't think the purples get as deep as the first set that I used. The white is layering properly as it should, so far so good. Now this is where I say there are levels, because can we just take a moment to like appreciate that purple and like the depth of color that I'm getting, the different layers, the different amounts of colors that I'm getting from basically 3 tubes. It may be that it's just because I like that color that I'm getting so swayed, but this is why I basically told you guys to like tell me what your favorite was at the beginning. In this set, obviously I have less colours than the rest, which means that I have to rely a lot more on blending, and I managed to get just much deeper colours in comparison with the others and a lot more depth. And I don't know if you can tell, but basically it took me less time as well. So the final set was definitely the easiest to use, had the right consistency, layered nicely, and just mixed really nicely, like the colours mixed very nicely basically. Before we try out some more paintings, let's go through the maths. So basically the Crawford and Black was the cheapest set, which cost £3 for 12 tubes of 12mm, which works out as 2p per mil, and this was painting A. Next we have the Himimiya gouache set, which although is £27, which is quite a bit pricier than the Crawford and Black, it comes with so much more paint that it works out as 4p per mil, and this was painting B. And finally we have the Winsor & Newton designer gouache set, which is £30, which works out as 21p per mil. So if I wanted to get as much paint as I got in the Himimiya gouache set, I would have to pay £151, and this was painting C. And now I'm doing a landscape from a Studio Ghibli set, but yeah, I'm saying that wrong, but please forgive me. But yeah, so I'm doing a landscape painting again using 3 different paints. Let me know which one you like the most. Is it the left, which I've already done, the middle, which I'm doing now, or the right, which I'm starting at the moment? So left, middle or right, which one do you prefer? As we all enjoy me peeling off this tape successfully with a perfectly straight line, I'd like to thank all my subscribers. I really appreciate you, and if you haven't taken a moment to subscribe, then consider doing so and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the weekly videos. But here's the final piece. Can you see a clear difference between the paints or not? So I promised a lot of painting in this video, and I trust that you will agree that I have delivered. So I had to speed them up because all in all I think the 3 paintings that I did took me like maybe 5 hours in total, each one just over an hour. So these are the speed paintings of the most expensive set, which is the Winsor & Newton set for £30, and the cheapest set, which is the Crawford and Black set from the works for £3. Can you guess which one was the most expensive and which one was the cheapest? So it's the most expensive one, the small one on the left, or the big one on the right? Don't know if you can tell. But yeah, so essentially the main differences that I found with the paint set is just one, yes, there is a difference in quality, there's a difference in the texture of the paint, there's a difference in how long they'll last, in the consistency, in the colors, the vibrancy. I did find that the cheaper one did get a little bit chalky as well, but it is worth bearing in mind that the Winsor & Newton set is technically 10 times more expensive than the Crawford and Black set. Can I tell the difference in quality? Yes, but does that mean that if I couldn't afford the Winsor & Newton one, I would use no gouache or not paint at all until I could afford it? No, I would probably start with the Crawford & Black or the Himimiya set and then work my way up. So just to confirm, the smaller one is the Winsor & Newton one and the bigger one is the Crawford & Black. So here are some sets again. This is painting 1, 2 and 3. Which one is your favorite? So I think that with this piece there is a bit more of a stark difference, and you can probably see better what I mean by the Crawford & Black being a bit chalky and desaturated. But here are the other pieces that I've put all side by side. What do you think? For me, the Winsor & Newton is my favourite. The colours are super vibrant, it's easy to mix and it's the right consistency. That being said, one of the limitations that I have with it is the fact that I don't have that many colours, so obviously my ability to mix colours is a limiting factor, and for that reason I tend to quite often use the Himimiya gouache set. And if you've seen my tutorials or past videos that I've done before, more times than not I'm actually using the Himimiya rather than the Winsor & Newton. Do I think that you need to spend a lot of money to make good quality art? Absolutely not. Is there a difference in the quality of art supplies? Yes. Yes, there is. And if you haven't already seen the video that I created about the mistakes that I made when I was starting off in my art journey, then I definitely recommend that, and I'll leave a link for that somewhere here or down below. But do I think that you need to only use expensive supplies in order to make good art? Absolutely not. There are lots of incredible artists who use easily accessible art supplies like biro pens to create amazing pieces of art. So I definitely think that you should use whatever you enjoy. So I think bottom line is that there is a difference in quality, but there might be certain frustrations that you will have with using cheaper art supplies, but you can still create excellent art with the supplies that you have to hand. And a lot of the time, unless you're doing it to put up in museums, or unless you're doing it because you want it to be archival quality and to sell it, etc., etc., you already have more than enough to create the art that you want. So I hope that you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Let me know down below your final verdict. That's a very long philosophical rant that I'm not even sure I'm going to leave in this video.